Hello world, welcome to Champions Online Build Showcase. This is my Valentine's Day themed build. It has archery, so that makes a Valentine's Day themed build, right? Yeah, okay, we're gonna go with that. But it mostly revolves around Sonic Arrow. It's a damage dealing freeform build with some utility, and it revolves around the electric part. In Sonic Arrow's case, the sonic damage, and that is the portion of the damage that is buffed, and everything else is all about the sonic, particle, or electric damage. Let's dive into the powers. Basic stuff: Hunter's Instinct for energy. You get energy when you crit with an archery power, and it scales with ego. Chilled form is the toggle form. It scales with ego as well, and you can use concentration if you want, but I like the blue color over the yellow color. It just is more aesthetically pleasing to me. For healing, I went with conviction. Healing's important. You're going to want to have a heal. I mean, that's just the way it is. You could also take bionic shield. Tried to use the advantage, but it kind of sucks. And I don't really like the weird effect thing it does. I chose to avoid that. If you don't care, you could replace conviction with bionic shield at rank 3. For active defenses, it's just typical defense move, nothing fancy. And then I used Locked and Loaded it. It gives you a nice crit chance and a damage boost. It has a power cost discount, and it's something other than Ego Surge all the time. Now on to the fun part. Sonic Arrow is the first one, which is pretty much what this build revolves around. It is used as the area effect and single target damage. And we're going to use the Deadly Dissonance debuff. Now, it's two things. It buffs the sonic portion of the attack, which is going to be important in a minute. And it also means that when you fully charge Sonic Arrow, the stun is now an area effect. So it doesn't just hit the main target, everything will get stunned, which is really great for a utility power. Now, we're buffing the sonic portion because Electric Form buffs sonic, electric, and particle damage. So, basically, since most of our damage is coming from Sonic, it just gets extra buffed. I mean, sure, the piercing part isn't going to be, but who cares? And Electric Form also gives us higher base equilibrium. Next is Electric Shield. I picked Electric Vengeance because it does actually surprisingly decent damage, considering you're blocking anyway. It's like, instead of doing nothing when you're blocking, you can actually finish off mobs while you block. It's kind of funny when they beat themselves to death on your shield. It can be slow if you do it from full health, but it's funny to do at least once. And it also goes well with Sparkstorm. So with Sparkstorm, I chose Electric Personality because it essentially turns it into a toggle. And you can block while you have this toggle, so you can essentially, it's kind of like a defense move. If things are in your face, you can toggle Sparkstorm on and block, and things will probably die and kill themselves on your shield, and it's great. Sparkstorm can knock targets. It doesn't do it all the time, but that's also pretty nice for keeping yourself safe. And if you really wanted to, you could just kind of pop up into a boss's face, or within the 25-foot range, and then turn it on for a little bit of extra damage while you're using Sonic Arrow. For just a bunch of extra damage, I also added Particle Smash. It is particle damage, so, well, should be buffed by Electric Form. The only real downside is you have to be close. It's only a 25-foot range power. It's basically free damage. You just throw it, it does damage, and that's why it's here, because there's empty spots. And then the last damage power is Implosion Engine. Of course, this is always fun for sucking enemies up together, and sometimes I like to follow it up with Particle Smash, or you could just use Sonic Arrow because everything's grouped up and you just hit a whole bunch of crap at the same time. It works really nice. The only downside is the ridiculously long cooldown for the not very much damage it does. And then I also stuck in Resurrection Serum and Rebirth because I had nothing else I wanted to put in those 2 power slots. And why not just add some utility so you can resurrect other people and resurrect yourself. Stat and tree picks are nothing terribly exciting. I went with Ego, Constitution, and Dexterity. Ego is not only my damage stat, but is my energy management stat, since everything scales with Ego. all of my energy needs scale with Ego, and even Insight scales with Ego. Since I don't need a dedicated energy stat, I chose Dexterity for my third stat for more crit chance, just to make sure I have that Hunter's Instinct going as much as possible every 4 seconds. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to crit at once every 4 seconds. Sonic Air doesn't exactly do amazing damage, so having as much crit chance as possible is kind of nice. And of course Constitution for a little bit of survivability. I mostly stat dumped in Ego with 400, or just a little over 400. I don't think I put anything into Dexterity, and then of course Constitution. I think not too much of that. So. Talents were just super stats and a little bit of extra recovery. Then I chose Ego obviously for Insight, Force of Will, Follow Through, and Sixth Sense. So pretty much standard options. And then Guardian and Vindicator just for the damage and defense aspect. Another choice I could have gone with is Sentinel Tree, but I honestly feel like I'm just putting in a bunch of points for crap that's not terribly useful, just so I can use Sentinel Mastery. I don't have any presence or bonus healing, so the Sentinel Aura kinda not that great. It can sort of work, it just feels like it's a lot of wasted points just so I can use Sentinel Mastery. I just went with Ego Mastery since Guardian and Vindicator Mastery are kind of completely worthless for this.